Hey guys, it's Yvette. Okay, so I am going to attempt to finish this TO YOU Mystery Quilt from Fort Worth Fabric Studio, and I have right here the last pieces that are going to go on the to finish the quilt top, and then here I have my week 1, 2, and 3, and everything's all made. And there goes Smudgy. Smudgy, keep walking, baby. Keep walking. Oh, he wants to see Dad outside. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna open up the window for Smudgy. There you go, Smudgy. I'll let more light in anyway, so that's probably a good thing. Okay, so I'm going to be finishing up the quilt top, at least. And I think, let's see, let's go ahead and get them out. I think this might be week 1. And the step 1 says, sew 4 patch blocks and pumpkin blocks into columns of 4 as pictured below. Okay, so what I will do, I think we have enough for, because we have to do, these are the sides and then we have the top. Oh, okay. These are all the 4 patches. And then these are the pumpkins. Okay, so what they want me to do is put a black pumpkin, a 4 patch, then an orange pumpkin. I guess it really doesn't matter, but I'm going to sort of switch them up a little bit. And then another 4 patch, and then this time a 4 patch on top with a black pumpkin, and then a 4 patch and an orange pumpkin. Now hold on, I think that I want to mix it up a little bit. I think I want this one to be this kind of black. Okay, so what I'm going to do is first let's go and take these 2 rows and sew them together. So I'm going to take you over to the sewing machine now, and I'll be right back. Okay guys, so I'm back at the sewing machine and I'm ready to make these 2 vertical sides or whatever. I can't even think right now. I'm so busy. You guys have, well, you do have some idea. So anyway, I'm very excited to get this done. And the one thing I did not do, which now I have to go and get it because I can't not do it anymore, is I am going to draw lines at 1/4 inch. So 1 second. Blah, blah. I'm trying to get good rulers that'll fit. Ah, here we go. Hopefully this one's good. Okay. So, first thing I'm going to do is I'll just start from the bottom and I will sew these 2 together. So I'll flip it over. I think I'll do the seam on this side, since it's just clearer. And I'm just going to hold it up to my light just to make sure that it's relatively square. And then I'll draw my 1/4 inch. And when I'm drawing my 1/4 inch, I want to make sure that the dotted line on my ruler is to the outside of the fabric, because if you put it right on top, then what you're really doing is you're moving your, and I hope you're seeing this, you're moving your line further in, which is really making it larger than the 1/4 inch. And this is sort of how we do that scant 1/4 inch. So you want to make sure that that dotted line, or whichever line you're using, is on the outside of the fabric. And then you'll just make a light line just so that you can see it. All right. And then when I sew, I'm going to sew just to the inside, and this is making up for the thickness of the pin, the thickness of the needle, you know, and then it just that makes the scant 1/4 inch so that your blocks are not too small. Okay. All right. So let's get going. And I am just using like a cream colored thread. I had thought about using black, but the problem is that you would see the black through the cream colored fabric. So I didn't want to do that. Ultimately made the decision just to keep using this cream colored thread. Okay, so as you can see, I have one whole side row, and I'm going to go ahead and do the other one, and I'll be right back. Or, you know what, I'll sew with you, and then I'll just speed it up, okay? Okay, so now I have both of these made, and I'm going to take them over to the ironing board and iron them up, and I'll be right back. Hey guys, okay, so I'm back, and I've done the vertical pumpkins and 4 patches, and now I'm going to do the horizontal ones. So the way that I've lined them up is exactly how they have them in the picture. And I just sort of made sure that the layout looked good, and you know, I laid them all out and made sure that, you know, there weren't like 2 dots together and just stuff like that. So it's just a very aesthetic thing just to eyeball it. So I'm going to go ahead and start putting those together. And so the way I've put them in the stack is that they will go this way. So these 2 are next to each other. I'm going to flip this over and mark my 1/4 inch. I just like to sort of eyeball it, just make sure it's in general squared up. It's funny how I used to go for everything to be perfect, and now I sort of embrace the imperfections a little. That might be a thing of, you know, time. I think I have way more time than patience at this point. Okay. Or, sorry. Actually, I don't think I have time or patience. I don't know what I'm saying. Okay, here we go. I'm going just inside that line. To just try to keep my 1/4 inch seams, or scant 1/4 inch, I should say. Alright, and so then I'm going to take the next one and put it next in line, flip it over. Okay, so now I've got these 6 blocks all connected, and I am going to take both of these horizontal pieces over to the ironing board. I'm just going to, you know, press them out one way or the other, and we'll be back with the next step. Okay guys, so I'm back and I've got the flying geese from week 3 that we have done. And all we needed to do at this point was separate them out into 4 stacks of 6. And they are going to run horizontally across in this direction with the white part on the top, right? And so what I did was I just laid them out and then just made sure it was aesthetically pleasing, that they were sort of in a random order. And that's all I really did. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stitch these all together, basically, like I said, in a horizontal row this way. And 2 of them are just going to be the flying geese, and the other 2, whichever 2, it doesn't matter, are going to each have one of the AA squares on each side. Okay, so let me get started with getting these all together first, and I will be right back. What I'm going to do is I think I'm going to start it up, and I'm going to chain stitch them like I had done before instead of how I've just been working today. I'm going to chain stitch, so I'm going to do that all at once and really fast. Okay. Okay guys, so apparently my recording stopped. I had no idea this camera will only record like 30 minutes at a time, and obviously I've been sewing a little more than 30 minutes. So this is my pile of what I have finished. What I have is 1 flying geese. Oops. 2 flying geese, and then the third and fourth flying geese have one of the double A squares on either end. And I went ahead and just chain pieced that so that it went pretty quick, relatively, for you guys. Alright, so we have 2 of each of those, and what I'm going to do now is go over to the ironing board and press them, and I'll be right back with the next step. Okay guys, so I thought I would come over real quick to the ironing board and show you how I press. I don't know if this is something that all of you would like to see or not, but I just thought I can just show you very quickly, especially with these flying geese, and I only hope that you're able to see it well enough, because I'm you know, I have a hard time filming these. I just do. Anyway, so what I do is I like to press on the back side of my fabric. That's me. I've had people say, oh, you know, don't you ever press from the front? Sometimes I do, like after everything's pressed, if I need something to look a certain way, but I tend to like to press on the back. So I know that I have said before that it's an up and down motion, but for me, especially with flying geese, I find that I have to sort of wiggle and maybe maneuver where I want things with my hands. So I just wanted to show you what I do. There's no right or wrong way. If you do it some other way and it's been working for you, then awesome. Really. It's whatever works for you is perfect. There's no reason to change. So I'll start, and I do sort of pull a little bit. I don't like tug. I just want to make sure that I'm getting right on the seam, and then I just sort of wiggle it, and then right here you'll always, or I always have this pucker, so I will put the pucker under and then lift and put the iron down. So then I will just hold it there for a little bit to sort of you know, keep the press where I want it. And then I'll sort of go a little bit of, not pushing or anything like that, just a little bit of a back and forth, just to make sure that I'm keeping that seam where I want it. And then I'll move on to the next one. I do the same thing where I do like this little wiggle, and then I just make sure that's down, and I lift up slightly and put it right down. And then I leave it there. And then I'll repeat the motion, except usually I'll try to cover both of these depending on how far apart they are, because I don't like getting little lines in it as well. I call this smoothing. That's what I call it, because sometimes when you're holding an iron down while you're trying to get a seam to stay, you'll get these little lines. I just don't like that, so I tend to try to just sort of smooth them out with the iron a little bit. And I'll just do one more. And if you see, you can see what I'm talking about right here and right there. So I just like to sort of smooth it out a little. Okay, so I'll go ahead and finish these up. I just wanted to sort of show you how I did that. And yeah, so I'll be right back with the next step. Okay guys, so I am back, and I have now brought over our, what I would call our centerpiece of our block. And the next 2 strips that we are going to attach are the letter U. And these 2 pieces are going to go on the right and left side of our centerpiece. So I'm going to go over to the sewing machine and sew this on with you. But just to let you know, the step directly after that is to sew the V pieces to the top and bottom. And so the V pieces are a little bit longer because they are accommodating what's here. or that this is going to go out a little bit more. So I am going to mark my 1/4 inch seams, and I will be right back over at the sewing machine with you. Okay guys, so now I'm back at the sewing machine. I'm going to first attach the right and left sides and then the top and bottom. So I've already marked them up. I'm going to take the top and bottom and just move them on top of my sewing machine to wait. And I'm going to scooch these over just for a minute, because basically what you want to do is just sort of eyeball the whole thing and note if there is one particular direction you want it to be in, because it's pretty random how it is, but maybe there's a certain something that you have, like for me, I see that on this side I've got 2 spiders and then a spider and a spider, whereas like here there would only be like, you know, 1 and 1 spider. Here there's like 2 over here, but this one's like getting cut off. And so I think what I would do is I would personally move it this way, because this is a square, so it's fine just to do it that way. And so then that would make this side and this side my right and left. So I'm going to go ahead and attach the right and left like that, okay? Oh, Jelly Bean. No, baby. Oh, jeez. Jelly Bean. My goodness gracious, great balls of fire. Why you gotta do all that? Oh, you can't be there, baby. Go up top or move. Up top. Up top. No, you can't love it. Come on. Jelly Bean. Come on, buddy. I love you too. He wants dinner is his problem. I know you want dinner, but it's too early anyway. It's too early. Yes, it's because you just woke up from a nap. I know. I know, boo. Okay. Alright, so just going to sort of eyeball where I want this. I don't know why I don't put my glasses on. Let's see. Okay. And I'm just going to sort of guide it and make sure. Oh, okay. Now he's climbing on my back. That's fun. Alright. Because he thinks that that's going to annoy me enough that I'm going to go feed him. That's what's going on. Ow! Oh my goodness! I know y'all love Jelly Bean. I love Jelly Bean too, but he just took about 1/4 of my skin off. It's gonna make me lose my mind. Jelly Bean, you're not getting fed right now, baby. You gotta wait, okay? Mommy's in the middle of sewing. And it's too early. Oops, I just saw the clock. I guess it's not too early. You have to at least let me finish right and left. Okay, so now that I have sewn on the right and left sides, and Jelly Bean is now in my lap, not because he loves me, but because he's a little boy who thinks with his tummy at all times. I am going to take a little break, go and feed them, and I will be right back to put the top and bottom on. Jelly Bean. Hold on, I'm going to try to get him in the camera for you. Can you guys see him? Hold on, Jelly Bean. You gotta get the camera. Yeah, there he is. Mwah, my baby. I'm gonna go feed this little tiger, and I'll be back. Mwah. Jelly Bean. Okay, guys, so I'm back, and I have the left and right sides sewn on, and now I'm going to take this is the pieces that were for letter V, like Victor, and I'm going to put them on the top and bottom. So let's go ahead and attach those now. You'll be happy to know that Jelly Bean is now well fed. Little turkey. Woo! What was that? Okay, so now I have finished sewing the top and bottom on, and I'm going to go over and press those open, and then we are going to start on the next step. I'll be right back. Okay guys, so I'm back, and what we were supposed to do is once we had the U and V pieces sewn on and pressed out, the square was supposed to measure, it was supposed to be 17.5 inches square. Okay, so I've made so many mistakes that there was no way, I was nowhere near 17.5. I ended up having to cut it down. In order for it to be square, I cut it down to 16.75 inches square. Okay. So that means that if I'm going to cut that down, then what's going to happen is, sorry, I've got cat hair on everything. Then what that means is I'm going to have to, I had to sort of think about the sides and the top, how I'm going to add those on. So I'm just, it's mine. I'm making a decision that it's probably a lot better for me to take extra off of the top where it's not a pumpkin. Now I'm still probably going to lose a little bit of this pumpkin down here, but I've decided that I can probably get away with only having like a 1/4 inch right here, and it would still not look too bad when I go and add what's going to be on the top. So anyway, just made that decision, and we're going to see how it turns out. I have already drawn my lines for the 1/4 inch seam allowance, so let's go ahead and just start attaching them. I mean, it's mine. I'm ready. I'm good. Okay, so here's my top. I made sure I have my top in the right spot. These two that I'm adding on, which are the vertical pieces, those go on the left and right. Okay, so I've made a little mark where I want to start it, which gives me a 1/4 inch. Okay. And we'll just see how it turns out. I thought this would be really great to show you guys too, like what really happens when you sort of have mistakes like this, because I wasn't marking my seams for a few of the pieces, and this is exactly what happened. Yeah, so let's just see how it turns out. I think I'm still going to love it. That's not going to matter to me, but let's just see what happens. Okay. Okay guys, so I'm back again with my fudged pieces, and this piece right here is the top piece, and this piece, oops, is the bottom piece, and I have already marked them where they need to attach, and I did have to trim down a little bit, and we'll just have to see how that turns out. So let me get started on attaching those pieces. Okay guys, so it seems that I was in the middle of sewing when my battery died. So I thought, you know, that's just somebody's way of telling me that I can take a break now. So where I am is I have actually finished attaching all of the pumpkins and the 4 patches. Most of it, or at least a slight part of it, looks really terrible. I'm gonna need to definitely pick up my game on the piecing blocks, because it always makes me nervous and I'm not all that great at it. So the next pieces that we're going to add on are going to be the Y and the Z. And it looks like the 2 Y pieces, which are these, I'm going to go ahead and give them a quick press before I do anything. Those are going to be attached on the right and left side. And then once we have those attached, then we'll take the 2 Z pieces and attach those on the top and bottom. So I'm going to give them a quick press and then head over to the sewing machine and we'll get started. Okie dokie. Okay, so I'm over at the sewing machine and I have my strips that I have marked with the 1/4 inch seam, and I'm going to go ahead and attach these on the right side and the left side of my little mini quilt. So let's get started on that. So now I'm going to head over to the ironing board and press this open. I'll be right back to sew the top and the bottom pieces on. Be right back. Okie dokie, Smokey. So now I'm back and I have pressed open my seams, and now I'm going to sew these strips on the top and bottom. I've already marked them with the 1/4 inch seam. So let's get going. That was funny. Okie dokie. Okie dokie, I'm going to go over to the ironing board now. I'm going to press these out and then we'll see what the next step is. I'll be right back. Okay guys, so I'm back. I have pressed out my seams and now we are going to attach the flying geese pieces. These are the 2 pieces without the white on the end. So it's just the flying geese and not the ones with the extra piece on each end, okay? And so these 2 are going to be attached on the left and right side of our quilt. So I'm gonna get started with that right now. And I did mark them, so they're already marked, oops, with my 1/4 inch seam. And as usual, my desk, my sewing cabinet, whatever you want to call this, is chockers full of all sorts of junk. Okay. Okay, here's what I'm just gonna start talking a little bit. I know I'm not a very verbose person while I'm sewing. I've just never have been. I've always been pretty quiet when I'm sewing. But what you guys are going to see is just how terrible of a piecer I am, or like doing these quilt blocks. And I've always had problems with this, which is why I typically don't like to do this type of quilt. And I have to say that when I decided to start doing it, to like be a part of this mystery quilt, I knew that, you know, I was probably going to have a lot of problems, just because I always have before. And while I do think that I know a lot of the techniques, like in my head, of things that I'm supposed to do, I haven't had a whole lot of practice at it. So, you know, certain things that probably I should have done and then I didn't do, and it becomes glaringly obvious whenever you're trying to piece things together and you haven't cut correctly, or you haven't, I think I cut okay, but I certainly did not do, I did not practice my scant 1/4 inch while making this. I think that what hinders me the most is having to make the video. I know that I'm not trying to make you guys feel bad. That's not it. It's just, it's a lot for me to have to focus on, and I'm also very cognizant of the time that it's taking me to do things. I've skipped some steps while in the middle, such as marking my seams, which, you know, some people can maybe get away with that, but I can't. I'm like, I'm one of those people, I have to have something to follow. So I think that, you know, even though this quilt is not gonna turn out to be like my fave, I'm very glad that I did it, because I'm starting to see like what happens when I don't do certain things that I know I should have. It'll also go to show you guys that, you know, it's not, you know, it's not just you. I mean, I've been sewing for a long time. I just don't, I don't like this, or I never did like this particular type of quilting. I feel like, I think the reason why I'm going to probably get better now is because I'm much more patient now than I used to be. So, you know, when we get to the Christmas one, which is going to start, I'm thinking it might start this week. I'm not sure. But once we get to the Christmas one, I'm definitely going to pay more attention to what I'm doing. And I'm going to see what, you know, like how big of a difference it makes. I have a feeling it's going to make a big difference. And while my Christmas quilt may not turn out perfect either, which is okay, I think I'm going to start getting better, because I'm starting to pick up little techniques that I should be doing, that I'm not doing, or that I haven't done. And hopefully, because I know there are some of you guys that are brand new quilters, and I'm hoping that I can at least pass along the information that I do know that we should be doing, and we can, you know, grow together in doing this. And I'm really looking forward to getting better, because I mean, we can always improve. Everybody can, I think. But I think I'm ready now. Like, I'm really ready to start focusing more on being precise. And I mean, I know I'm a perfectionist, but I'm also very impatient, and yeah, definitely impatient. Okay, so I'll show you what happened here. Let me cut this little seam, or this tail. Okay, so you can see that where I started, I'm going to go press this in a minute, but where I started, I wasn't thinking. What I should have probably done is folded it in half, figured out where my halfway mark was, set it there, and then sewed out either way. But I wasn't thinking. I was going too fast. So this side may be even the way it's supposed to be, but because, remember you guys that I had to cut mine short, I now have this little extra, like about 1/2 inch over here that's going to have to get trimmed off. And it would have made it look a little better if I had scooched that this way like a 1/4 inch, because then you'd have like a 1/4 inch extra up here to cut off and a 1/4 inch at the bottom to cut off. And it did do that on the other side as well. So I have this 1/2 inch over here, and then it's even on this side right here. So I'm going to go over and press my seams, and then I'll get ready to add the top and the bottom, which are going to be the flying geese with the little white squares on either side. Sorry, I should have brought water up here. So I'll be right back. Hey guys, okay, so I'm back. I have pressed out my pieces, and I marked my seam line, but I didn't do the whole folding in half and fixing it. And oh, Mr. JB, let me have the chair back. Woo! I guess if I were to do that, I mean, I would just roughly do it. Let's see, if I go half. Oh, okay, so that goes right there. That's perfect right there. So if I know that's the half, then all I have to do is figure out where the half is on here. Just roughly. I'm not going to go all nuts with it, but I'm going to say like right there. Oh, okay, right there in that little seam, sort of. Yeah, so if I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so 3, I'll sort of go right there, and this will sort of go up there. All right, let me do that. I think it'll be fine. It's off just a little bit, just like on the other side, with like the other parts, so I think it's going to be fine. At least it's going to, you know, I mean, the quilt is going to be what it's going to be at this point. I'm just trying to help it a little bit, if I can. I'm just wondering if any of you guys are watching the new season of Making a Murderer. I saw the first season, and before this second season came out, when they had, and I'm sure this is, I probably shouldn't be bringing it up, it's probably going to be very controversial, I have no idea. But before this second season came out, and we had heard that they were going to let, I'm terrible with names, guys. Is it Brendan Dassey? I forget exactly what his name is. I know it starts with a D. And I'm pretty sure his name's Brendan. They were going to let him out. He was the teenager. I think he was like 17 when all this happened. And that they had, in my opinion, coerced him into confessing. And so they had announced that they were going to let him out. And then that got overturned, and this whole thing just makes me crazy. You know, I'm obviously not alone, but I just don't think the guy did it. I don't know. I mean, I'd be the first to admit I could be wrong about that, because, you know, I don't know. But everything just points to them planting stuff to me. I don't know, and I don't really like that Ken guy, the prosecutor or whatever. I just don't like him. He seems squirrely to me. I don't know why. Just, he seems unaffected by the whole thing, and I don't know if I trust somebody who's so unaffected by this. I don't know. That's just me. But anyway, what do you guys think? Just curious. I thought maybe that was something I could bring up while I'm making this. Since I sit here pretty silent the whole time just sewing. Do 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 do. Okay. So now I'm going to go and press these sides out, and believe it or not, there's another freaking border. I'm telling you, there's another border. So I will be right back. Okay, so I am back and I have marked the seam lines on my next border. So I'm just going to go ahead and attach them. We're now putting on the W and the X, and so we're putting those on both of the sides first, the left and the right side. Then we'll press out and attach the top and bottom. So let's get going. Okay, so now I'm going to press these seams out, I'm going to come back and we're going to put the final border on. I'll be right back. Okay guys, we're in the home stretch. I've got the 2 last pieces of border to put on. So let's get going. I'm ready to finish this up. Okay guys, I am going to go over to the ironing board, press this out, hang it up, and come back and show you my finished mini quilt top for the To You Fort Worth Fabric Studio mystery quilt. I'll be right back.